I want to give a shout out to the Black Child channel. The majority of this film will be his work, so well put together. But I wanted to add this here. It reminded me of the Masons on the moon, 33 guns. Hey, choose this day what you'll believe. Don't fall off the ball.
Hey guys, TMF, and this is just getting hilarious. All right, latest report update on Paddock, the shooter. All over mainstream media headlines. This is New York Daily News. Paddock purchased 33 guns in the last year. 33 guns. Yep, and he also fired on and off for 9 to 11 minutes. 9 to 11 minutes. What's next? He has a secret stash of 666 guns somewhere stockpiled, and with 6 million rounds. I mean, give me a break, people. All right, this is the mockery in place. This is the signaling of who's really behind this. You get it? If you don't get it, well then, I don't know. I can't help you.
Breaking news coming out of Las Vegas, Nevada, where there's been a deadly mass shooting at an outdoor country music festival.
Everybody is down. Everybody's down.
Let's go!
Babe, you're okay. I promise.
I'm
We can't go yet. So we can't go yet.
And then we realized it sounded like machine guns. It sounded like more than one machine gun. And it just didn't stop.
You can hear that machine gun, like, I can't even, that was the worst. And then everybody's running and screaming, and I mean, there's people like trampling people.
The lady next to me just fell, and she was bleeding.
I told her to get up and let's just start going, and as we did that, there was a gal that was off to the right of us that got shot in the side of her face.
You saw so many people who didn't even know each other just grab each other and
Helping.
go. We ran straight into the Hooters bathroom and we're like, okay, get in a corner, get safe. And as we get into this bathroom, there's a girl who was just shot in the head.
My biggest fear was, what if somebody had a bomb? What if, what happened at another concert at Ariana Grande, and yeah, it was a zoo. It was insanity.
And people were running and screaming and go this way. Go. It was just, people were hysterical.
You see anybody injured? Anybody?
Yeah. We saw people getting thrown inside a pickup truck that were hurt, and people that were thrown inside of SUVs that were hurt. But I don't know.
Fuck, this girl just got shot in the fucking head. It's so fucking crazy. So I had to go grab a gun. I'm fucking headed back. Fucking so crazy. Some kind of mass shooting. Fucking guy had a heavy caliber weapon for sure. Saw a girl fucking get shot in the face right next to me. Her brain's fucking hanging out. Stupid ass me didn't bring a gun.
Hey, Jake, you said you're still on the bus. Have you been able to move at all, or are they making everyone still shelter in place? And have you been able to talk to any of the other artists there on the scene?
Yeah, I have. I actually, I talked to Jason. He texted me. I think he got a ride over to the airport, was waiting to hopefully get out. I talked to Kane Brown, and I was standing on the stage with Luke Combs and actually Dan Bilzerian. We were standing side stage together when this all went down. And everybody seems to be okay. I mean, for the folks that were out in the crowd that were just there with an open shot from where he was shooting from the Mandalay, I can't.
Some kind of mass shooting, fucking guy had a heavy caliber weapon for sure. Saw a girl fucking get shot in the face right next to me, her brain's fucking hanging out.
I was standing on the stage with Luke Combs and actually Dan Bilzerian. We were standing side stage together when this all went down. And everybody seems to be okay. I mean, for the folks that were out in the crowd that were just there with an open shot from where he was shooting from the Mandalay, I can't.
This is a crazed lunatic full of hate, a crazed lunatic full of hate.
The gunman has been named as Stephen Paddock, who fired on crowds of people from the window of his hotel room before killing himself. A minute's silence at the White House as President Trump urges the country to stand together.
Last night, a gunman opened fire on a large crowd. It was an act of pure evil.
And then we realized it sounded like machine guns. It sounded like more than one machine gun. And it just didn't stop.
First arrived here, there was reports there were shooters in other hotels, and someone may have run into Tropicana. All that, from what we're being told by police, is not true. One shooter, and the shooter is down.
You know, there was no direction. We didn't know where to go, where to run. They said go to the Tropicana, so I went in there. I needed to use the restroom. I come out of the restroom, and people are screaming and running down the hall again, and I'm going, oh my God, now what? And somebody said, the guys on the roof.
Yeah, there was, as you know, situations like that, it tends to be very fluid. A lot of information gets passed around, and people are obviously, you know, pretty upset, and it causes them to do and say things they may not, or hear things they may not really hear. Good news, we're told, is that did not happen.
Yeah.
But
you know, there's all these rumors, and people are drunk. Basically, this is a concert. So.
And you guys live right here in Las Vegas. You obviously, nothing has happened ever like this before.
Oh, no, this is crazy. I really hope that they get some sort of policy, not just Vegas, everywhere, some kind of policy to where when this stuff happens, there's someone right there. How much they shot, how much shooting was going on, and them not being taken down. And like I said, there's definitely someone on the ground.
Did you have any friends at this concert? Is there anyone that you don't know what has happened to them at this point?
No, but I do know a lot of people that escaped with us, have friends that have been shot and they left them behind because, you know, it's fight or flight. You can't really, you know, take people with you and stuff like that. And especially in a situation like that, you don't know what to do.
They kept coming. That was the thing. It wasn't that, okay, let's all leave and now it's okay. No, we all started running and they came in. That's why there's no humanly possible way that guy, that was the only shooter. If you were where we were and how we were hidden and the way they came in and herded us all out into the staff parking lot and then continued shooting into the staff parking lot.
The Las Vegas Police Department is saying that they do believe that it is just one person at this point, but they believe that it came from the 32nd floor across. Could you tell it was coming from the Mandalay Bay?
Definitely the way there was a lot of headshots. So the way a lot of people got headshots, and it was, yeah, like the guy, you know, right here. Yeah,
we're gonna wind it right there. But as you can see, the traumatic aspect of this to people that really fought for their lives to get away from the scene, obviously injured too, but not to the extent of the victims and the fatalities. Christine, Greg,
right. Jean, thank you so much. And you know, police are saying it was one shooter. The shooter not down there in the crowd, but up on the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay, and that's where they.
FBI paying a visit to Stephen Paddock's family in Orlando. Paddock's younger brother, Eric, says family members are beside themselves.
This is like it was done, like he shot us. I mean, if he'd have killed my kids, I couldn't be more dumbfounded. Not an avid gun guy at all. The fact that he had those kind of weapons is just, where the hell did he get automatic weapons? He has no military background or anything like that.
Steve had nothing to do with any political organization, religious organization, no white supremacist, nothing, as far as I know. I've only known him for 57 years.
He believed in majestic mind control, which is a way of breaking down a person and creating an alternative personality with which they must coexist. Now, here's the key. You can give them a signal, a phrase, or a gesture, and bring out the alternate personality and make them do things. Tamerlan thought someone might have done that to him.
We have a positive match.
Our program here successfully proves that 1 out of 20 ordinary Americans have the disposition to become a civilian weapon.
So you're creating American suicide bombers?
Shooting down a couple of guys in fatigue, waving an American flag doesn't work anymore. We're adapting fast.
And where do we draw the line?
When you have to fight fire with fire, there's no more line.
How many do we have out there?
Civilian weapons? Nobody really knows. Classified.
20 seconds. Phase 1 was identification. You selected a subject who would bend to our objectives. But how do you transform him into a full civilian weapon? Congratulations. Welcome to Phase 2.
All echoes be advised. Initiating Phase 2. Indoctrination.
You're no longer David Webb. From now on, you'll be known as Jason Bourne.
It wasn't supposed to go like this. I wanted to talk.
Where's Dewey going?
He's going to Vegas to speak with Aaron Kalora at the Cyber Convention. The agency recruits there every year.
What's Iron Hand? What's Iron Hand?
Dewey's new Black Ops program. Full spectrum surveillance. Watching everyone all the time. Dewey needs Kalora's cooperation to bring it online.
I'll see you in Vegas.
We're pinning Kalora's hit on a fictional jihadi shooter, a 20-year-old Iraqi national. We created bank accounts, travel documents, emails, phone records. He'll look like a lone wolf.
Any physical evidence?
The asset leaves the gun, it'll have the Iraqis' prints on it.
Russell doesn't need to know about this.
I understand, sir.
Any news on Bourne?
Nothing.
New development
And this, we understand, is the house that was owned by Paddock.
Less than an hour after the shooting stopped,
They do have a large crew out here with
police and federal agents descended on the home of Stephen Paddock in Mesquite, Nevada, about 80 miles northeast of Las Vegas. A search turned up 19 more guns, ammunition, and explosives, but no clues about what drove him to commit mass murder. He lived there with his girlfriend, Mary Lou Danley.
We, the Mesquite Police Department, have not had any contacts with these people in the past. We haven't had any traffic stops, we haven't had any law enforcement contacts, no arrests or nothing.
A younger brother, Eric Paddock, says the family never saw it coming.
It's just like an asteroid fell out of the sky. There was nothing that would say he would do this kind of thing. And there's no affiliations, there's no church, there's no religion, there's no politics, there's no anything.
He says Paddock recently texted to ask how his 90-year-old mother was doing after Hurricane Irma, and texted again about attending a family wedding. Their father, Benjamin Hoskins Paddock, was once on the FBI's 10 most wanted list after escaping from prison in 1968 while serving time for bank robbery. The FBI described the father as psychopathic with suicidal tendencies. But the son, Stephen Paddock, had no brushes with the law, state and federal officials say. He was a retired accountant.
The world is not a friendly place, and that's where he needs to learn to live.
Get into financial consulting. How did you get into financial consulting? My dad was an accountant. You know, he had the whole shtick, the dorky pocket protector.
I have a pocket protector.
That's a nice one.
Do you like puzzles? Tell me what you see. Was taken 3 years ago by an undercover agent.
It's the same person.
He was spotted in Tehran, Tel Aviv, and Naples. This guy risks his life uncooking the books for some of the scariest people on the planet. Drug cartels, arms brokers, money launderers, assassins. Who survives this kind of clientele? Imagine the secrets this guy has. What are you doing here?
Who are you?
There's people looking for you.
If their secrets get too big, killing you may be the cost of doing business. If you go down this road, you can't go back. Some of my clients are quite dangerous.
Why would your clients follow you? You're an accountant. We have to go to the police.
Police can't protect you.
So who is he?
The accountant.
Like a CPA accountant?
Not quite.
He was a retired accountant after living for a time in Texas and Florida, a multi-millionaire real estate developer, his brother says. Investigators say in the past few weeks he gambled heavily at Las Vegas hotels and casinos, placing tens of thousands of dollars in bets. Federal officials and gun store owners say he has legally purchased rifles and handguns over the past several months in Nevada. More than a dozen assault-type rifles like this were found in his hotel room, federal officials say, along with some sniper rifles with scopes and tripods. But they haven't yet determined what made them automatic, capable of shooting continuously and rapidly, whether they were bought illegally that way or later modified. Police say he checked into the Mandalay Bay Hotel last Thursday and brought in all the guns and ammunition himself, along with his luggage, keeping it hidden from the housekeeping staff.
What was your reaction when you found out?
Shocked and amazed. Because typically we don't even lock our doors.
He lived down the street from the shooter. When Swenningson saw his picture in the paper, he didn't even recognize him.
I had no idea. A lunatic lived 3 doors down.
Swenningson was shocked at the arsenal police found in the shooter's home. He owns several guns himself, but he says the shooting has changed him.
I don't think that anyone should really have the ability to convert their firearms into fully automatic weapons, where he could just go out and just...
So I do feel helpless in these times. Do you?
Yes.
The mental health laws are not going to change, and we know it. The gun laws,
Right. And even if they did change, you would still get people like this guy, and we know it. A retired accountant who had a girlfriend who was supposedly happy, who one day decided to murder a group of innocent people here in the land of the free.
Well, hello, everyone. Here we are again in the aftermath of another terrible, inexplicable, shocking, and painful tragedy, this time in Las Vegas, which happens to be my hometown and Cleto's hometown, Cleto Sr.'s hometown. There's probably no way to ever know why a human being would do something like this to other human beings. Do something like this to other human beings who are at a concert, having fun and listening to music. I've been reading comments from people say this is terrible, but there's nothing we can do about it. But I disagree with that intensely, because of course there's something we can do about it. There are a lot of things we can do about it. Second Amendment, I guess, our forefathers wanted us to have AK-47s, is the argument, I assume. Reportedly had 10 of them in his room, apparently legally. At least some of them were there legally. Why is that allowed? I don't know why our so-called leaders continue to allow this to happen. Or maybe a better question, why do we continue to let them to allow it to happen? So I think now is the time for political debate. President Trump is visiting Las Vegas on Wednesday. He spoke this morning, said he's praying for those who lost their lives. You know, in February, he also signed a bill that made it easier for people with severe mental illness to buy guns legally. You know, in February, he also signed a bill that made it easier for people with severe mental illness to buy guns legally. The guy was an accountant. He had no criminal record. His brother, who lives in Florida, seems totally shocked, genuinely dumbfounded. He said he saw no sign of any of this. The owner of the store that sold the killer some of the rifles said he passed the government-mandated background check when he was in the store. He wasn't on any watch list. You know, in February, he also signed a bill that made it easier for people with severe mental illness to buy guns legally. The Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, the Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, a number of other lawmakers who won't do anything about this because the NRA has their balls in a money clip, also sent their thoughts and their prayers today, which is good. They should be praying. They should be praying for God to forgive them for letting the gun lobby run this country. So I want to show you something. These are the faces of the senators who, days after the shooting in Orlando, voted against a bill that would have closed those loopholes. These are the 56 senators who didn't want to do anything about that.
And because Jimmy was kind enough to put these senators' pictures up, I want you to take a look at the folks who are making these decisions on our behalf.
And maybe don't vote for them again.
And there are their names in the states. I think
and so we'll put it up on our website.
Don't vote for them.
So you can see them.
Take them out of office.
You know, we'll be right back.
Happening tomorrow, opening statements are set to begin in the federal trial of the suspected Chelsea bomber. Ahmaud Rahimi is facing several terrorism charges for allegedly setting off bombs in New York and New Jersey last year, injuring more than 30 people. Rahimi was eventually captured in a shootout with police in New Jersey. Jury selection for the Manhattan trial ended on Thursday.
Just minutes into the trial of accused Chelsea bomber Ahmaud Rahimi, the defendant stood, insisting on addressing the court, despite the judge's warning not to. When Rahimi wouldn't back down, federal judge Richard Berman ejected him from the courtroom. Rahimi later was allowed to return, and he apologized, saying he only wanted to ask why his family is not being allowed to visit him in jail. Rahimi is accused of planting 2 bombs in Manhattan last year. one on West 23rd Street that detonated, injuring 31 people, and another one on West 27th Street that did not go off. He's also accused of placing bombs in New Jersey. Prosecutors said he was inspired by Osama bin Laden and ISIS, arguing, quote, the defendant believed he was a soldier in a holy war against Americans. The trial is expected to last at least 2 weeks. If convicted, Rahimi faces life in prison. In Lower Manhattan, Michael Scotto, New York 1.
Double homicide, 1 male, 1 female. Killer's male, white, 40s.
Set up a perimeter and tell them we're en route. I'm placing you under arrest for the future murder of Sarah Marks. Give the man his hand.
The future can be seen.
All we have to run on are the images that they produce.
We see what they see.
There hasn't been a murder in 6 years. There's nothing wrong with the system. It is
Perfect, I agree. Murder can be stopped.
Tell me exactly what it is you're looking for.
Flaws.
You ever get any false positives? We are arresting individuals who have broken no law.
But they will.
The fact that you prevented it from happening doesn't change the fact that it was going to happen.
The system can't be wrong.
The pre-crime program began in the year 2046 with a federal grant. And now, 9 years later, the District of Columbia is the safest city in America. Why? Because pre-crime works.
From 20th Century Fox.
He set me up. He set me up!
And DreamWorks Pictures. Tom Cruise.
I need your help. You contain information. I need to know how to get at it.
In a Steven Spielberg film.
I have to know. I have to find out what happened in my life.
Minority Report.
Hollywood movies have tried to predict the future for years, with varying degrees of success. But one movie has arguably had more success than any other: Minority Report.
Oh, this is good.
Steven Spielberg's 2002 film tells the story of John Anderton, a police officer in Washington, D.C. in the year 2054. He heads the elite pre-crime law enforcement squad that, with the help of psychics, stops crimes before they happen.
I'm placing you under arrest for the future murder of Sarah Marks and Donald Dubin that was to take place today.
The film predicted tons of technology that we see today, from self-driving cars to personalized ads.
John Anderton, you can use a Guinness right about now.
To augmented reality. So, how did they get so much of this right?
I used to think my job was all about arrests, chasing bad guys. Now I see my work differently. We analyze crime data.
Personal data collection is the key commodity.
We analyze crime data, spot patterns, and figure out where to send patrols. It's helped some U.S. cities cut serious crime by up to 30%. By stopping it before it happens. Let's build a smarter planet.
A major attack in the French city of Nice. 84 people have been killed, many more are injured.
The victims were mowed down by a large lorry that was driven into the crowds as they celebrated Bastille Day in the city of Nice late last night.
President Hollande has called up military and police reservists and has extended the country's state of emergency.
After what the Metropolitan Police described as a terror incident. 4 people are known to have died, including an attacker. 20 people have been injured. A police officer was killed inside the parliamentary grounds, the heart of British democracy.
Good morning. In Manchester, a suicide bombing at a pop concert last night killed 22 people and wounded nearly 60 others. Children were among the dead.
About the draft Investigatory Powers Bill and our commitment to providing a new law consolidating and updating our investigatory powers.
It's aimed at reinforcing the fight against organized crime and terrorism and gives police and intelligence services unprecedented powers over the population's communications data. Among the most controversial measures, phone operators and internet service providers may be required to retain the browsing history of all users for a year and make the data available to the police and security services.
This is GCHQ's listening station in Bude, Cornwall. It's from here that British intelligence monitors the world's internet traffic.
GCHQ has probably the most invasive network intercept program anywhere in the world, and it's the world's first full take, they call it, and that means content in addition to metadata on everything.
DOE's new Black Ops program. Full spectrum surveillance, watching everyone all the time.
That will be the mission of the government I lead. And together, we will build a better Britain.
We were out running errands yesterday, and everywhere we went, all anyone was talking about is how horrible modern society is these days. And Las Vegas. Las Vegas was on the TV in every waiting area that we saw, every corner that had a small TV in it that was on. It was talked about on every radio station, and even when we tried to change the channel, DJs were saying we should stop what we were doing and turn on the news to watch the coverage of Las Vegas. What we were told happened is a 64-year-old multi-millionaire in real estate, for reasons no one knows that have not been explained, brought a cartoonish number of 23 guns into the Mandalay Bay Casino over the course of several days, and on Sunday night knocked out 2 windows on the 32nd floor. And despite being in a casino, which is a building with its own mini fusion center, in Las Vegas, which is the American equivalent of London in how many CCTV cameras it has, this man was somehow able to shoot down at a crowd of thousands of people attending a country music festival for over an hour, and no one was able to get into the room to stop him for 72 minutes. This is the same exact casino, by the way, that if the power even goes out, like it did for 40 minutes one day last year, security was able to put the entire place on full lockdown quickly within moments. And all day long, every news outlet, every channel, everything just repeated the same gory details over and over about the terror, the screaming, the running, and the blood, the blood, the blood. I must have heard that a brainwashing level number of times, which, if we're to believe that nearly 60 people died and over 500 were hurt, is really dehumanizing to any potential victims who may have been involved. Leftist outlets had sickos saying things like conservative victims like those found at country music festivals don't deserve our sympathy. And far-right blowhards were attempting to push the ISIS homegrown lone wolf terror agenda. But the more that the details began to emerge on this, and there are some really strange things that have come out in the wake of this, the more we began asking ourselves, Cui bono? Who benefits? Was there anyone waiting in the wings who benefits from such a senseless event? And as sick as it seems to say that, unfortunately, we live in a country and now a globally connected society that has been run on false flag terror and the Hegelian dialectic since at the very least World War II. At least. We have people in leadership positions like Rahm Emanuel saying things like, never let a good crisis go to waste.
You never want a serious crisis to go to waste. And what I mean by that, it's an opportunity to do things that you think you could not do before.
So when you see a bunch of red flag details start coming out that don't make any sense, and I mean no sense at all, and you start asking yourself, could this be a false flag? always ask cui bono, and then work backwards from there. And of all the bizarre stuff coming out of Vegas, the minutia of which we could debate all day long, one of the most compelling answers to our question was apparently posted on 4chan on, of all days, September 11th, just a few weeks ago. This is a thread called, "If anything happens tomorrow, it's Mossad false flag level alpha." And I'm sure every single year on September 11th, you will see a post with the same warning or a similar warning just by default ever since 9/11 on this website. I'm just guessing. But this year, you had some pretty interesting and specific responses that make way too much sense. I was able to carbon date this page back to its creation date, and it was apparently created 23:59:59 on September 10th, 1 second before midnight, September 11th. So somebody had a message they definitely wanted to put out there. And down here in this thread is a post from John, I'm sure that's his real name. He says, "Look, I feel bad for some of you on this website, so I'll let you in on a little secret. If you live in Las Vegas or Henderson, stay inside tomorrow. Don't go anywhere where there are large groups of people. Also, if you see 3 black vans parked next to each other, immediately leave the area. You're welcome." And people started debating what that meant. And he comes back and says, "It's called the High Incident Project. They want to make the American public think that places with extremely high security, like Las Vegas, aren't safe. They're trying to create more regulations. You'll see laws proposed in the next few years to put up more metal detectors and other security devices. Media and politicians will be saying places with lots of police need even more police. I can't guarantee anything will happen tomorrow, but Las Vegas is on their minds." Then he comes back one last time and says, "If their plan is successful, State of Nevada will pass a law in the future making all casinos have mandatory metal detectors and backscatter machines. Soon after, a federal law will be passed to put these machines in universities, high schools, federal buildings, you name it. OSI Systems and Chertoff are the main producers of these machines. Sometime around 2020, Chertoff and OSI will merge into a single company. After they merge, the owners will sell off all their stock and make billions in profit. Mr. Chertoff has been in contact with Sheldon Adelson. Mr. Adelson will become a huge sponsor of these machines, and he will be the first to put them in his casinos when the law passes. This is my last message for now. Don't expect me to return anytime soon." If you will recall, back when the underwear bomber happened, Chertoff, who had been Department of Homeland Security Secretary from 2005 to 2009, by then he was running the Chertoff Group, which is a private security consulting agency. And after the underwear bomber happened, he came out and was a really big proponent, publicly promoting the Rapiscan naked body scanners, the backscatter x-ray machines that they put into all of the airports. He was pushing all of that, and then it came out that one of his main clients was OSI. OSI owns Rapiscan, the maker of the machines. OSI, by the way, being run by Deepak Chopra, not Oprah's Chopra, another guy with the same name, who is considered a quote-unquote significant donor to the Democratic Party to the point that he was able to accompany President Obama on a trip to India in 2010 to promote trade between India and the U.S. That's the level that guy is. So you have a lot of big players involved in OSI, Rapiscan, of course, the Chertoff Group. On top of that, James Murin, the CEO of MGM International, which owns the Mandalay Bay Casino, also just so happens to be a sitting member of the Department of Homeland Security's National Infrastructure Advisory Council. And he actually sits on a group called the Critical Infrastructure Security and Resilience Research and Development Working Group, and they write reports like this one, where they talk about things that they can do to help get legislation passed and regulations to put in security technology infrastructure, such as, X-ray backscatter machines, into places, how to make that affordable for shareholders, which would be the people who own casinos who would have to buy and purchase these machines, and also they consider things like public acceptance of such technologies. That's the kind of stuff they talk about in their meetings as a member of the Homeland Security National Infrastructure Advisory Council. Just so happens to be the same guy who is the CEO of the company that owns the hotel where this happened.
So all this was predicted, and it's eerie, and what makes sense about it is the president has these people as his peers. He's got a tower over there on Vegas Strip. He's met with these people publicly and privately. He knows all these casino owners. And Sheldon Adelson in particular sponsored the Las Vegas debate in the last GOP debate cycle.
The day before the debate, Trump met with Adelson at his hotel where the debate was being held.
Met privately with most, if not all, of the candidates on stage as they basically begged for his money and backing as one of the biggest kingmakers in the Republican Party. And Trump also met with them. And that night at the debate, and while we don't know exactly what they said, that night at the debate, all the candidates hopped to see who could be the biggest and boldest at talking about counter-security measures, how they would take on terrorism, whether or not they would launch new wars to defend the country, and other related matters. And Trump came out very strongly that night for an anti-terrorism administration that picks up right where George Bush left off. And you've got Sheldon Adelson quietly, with his cloaked hands, glad that they took this script. So the fact that you're now seeing a possible false flag incident and new security measures starting on the Las Vegas Strip pretty much echoes what happened in the debate and the connections that are there.
What's even, I think, creepier about it is after a mass shooting in this country, you always have calls for gun control. We're seeing that, but not to the same degree we normally do. Actually, what we're seeing this time is a lot of talk in every mainstream news outlet about how vulnerable hotel security is everywhere. So here's one from the New York Times about the Las Vegas shooting underscores hotel security choices. Here's one from Fox News about how hotels take new look at security after Las Vegas, but will customers sacrifice their privacy? And it just goes on and on. And every single one of these articles, they quote the same guy. It's this guy, Jim Stover, and he says, the hospitality industry hasn't gotten its act together in terms of anti-terrorism. It's not going to be pushed. It has to be pulled. It's not going to be pushed. It has to be pulled. All over the place, they're saying this. You even had an op-ed in the Huffington Post where a lady straight up said, do U.S. hotels need metal detectors? And it shows a picture of the backscatter x-rays, the naked body scanners. And she goes through and makes this argument, and it's a terrible argument. She says things like, metal detectors and security screening are routine at the entrances to hotels in many countries such as Egypt and Jordan. Yes, because we need to start setting our sights on making America more like the Middle East, right? But it only takes 30 seconds longer than walking through a revolving door. And we all adjusted to the security screenings at U.S. airports, although we may grumble from time to time if the lines are long and we're racing to catch a plane. But TSA security screenings have become part of the experience of flying in the U.S., so we might as well accept this too. That's what she's saying. Perhaps it's time to make it safer to stay at a hotel in the U.S. by installing metal detectors and x-ray machines in hotel lobbies. But just like with the airports, it's not going to stop there. In fact, the controversy over backscatter machines went up a notch when people started questioning the health and safety of such machines, and they ended up having to take a bunch of them out of the airports. And those machines are just sitting around waiting for someone to use them. So why not get all the hotels and casinos on board to stick them right in? And what do you know? But just the very next day, they're now reporting in Bloomberg that guests at the Wynn are being scanned in a glimpse of Las Vegas's future. That is how fast this has already begun. Because, again, the guy brought a cartoonish number of guns, supposedly 23 guns, into his room. More guns than he would possibly need. It's just over the top. The whole thing is over the top. And this is going to be the solution. Less freedom. Do you want to know how blatantly, transparently obvious this agenda is? The next day, former Homeland Security official Chad Sweet, who just so happens to also be the co-founder and CEO of the Chertoff Group, went on CNBC, and not only did he say that in a free society, there are no ways to eliminate security risks.
In a free society, there's no way to eliminate this kind of risk.
So what he really means is we need to be less free if we want to be safe. We need to give up our liberty for temporary security. He was also pushing, guess what?
But there are ways, as you said, to potentially mitigate the risk. In addition to intelligence sharing, you can also do a number of steps to establish a secure perimeter using various types of screening technology.
That's right, the X-ray technologies. Already, not even 24 hours later. So I guess the guy in the 4chan group just so happens to have had a crystal ball. That is what I call eerily prescient.
I guess some people don't remember. I remember it like it's yesterday. This is all the stuff they were building up to. They were telling us Homeland Security was going to be pre-screening passengers, every train, every plane, and eventually every car as well. They had mobile X-ray scanners deployed in the streets. They've got extremely sophisticated, potentially dangerous, very expensive equipment being rolled out everywhere, but the public was fed up with it. Hence, the Obama administration focused on the gun control side of the issue for years. Now that the administrations are back to Republican, here we go again with all these security measures, and better look closely at what's happening. Not everything is what it appears to be.
So, that's what happened. Now, whether that's a false flag of somebody posting that on September 11th as a little ha-ha gotcha game, I don't know. But the fact is, it makes way too much sense. Hey, maybe Trump will be the first one to put it in at his hotel. Why not? Because this is what they're getting ready. They're already pushing. It's been literally a day, and they are already scanning people. They're already doing this. And like the poster said, this is just going to be the beginning. Because to get us to the fully automated Minority Report level of society that we're supposed to be living in the future, there's going to have to be backscatter machines and all kinds of technology everywhere. That's the only way to get us there. But they know that they can't just institute it and put it in. They have to socially engineer everybody to accept it. And one way they can do that is false flag terror. That is how they get people to accept more and more intrusion and encroachment on their privacy and on their person. And that is why every time one of these events happens, you have to ask, who stands to benefit? And there are some people in some very high places who stand to make an awful lot of money off of taking away a little bit more of our freedom. Meanwhile, these machines have been debunked already. There are people that have done videos all over YouTube. They can sneak all kinds of things past these machines. I don't know about you, but I don't want to live in a society where I have to be X-rayed every time I want to go into the grocery store and get broccoli. Every time I leave my house, everywhere I go. That's not freedom. That's not even humane. But that's the reality they're trying to push here. Where are they going to stop once they start doing this? Where does it end?
Since this whole deal, he's been pushing his little narrative of a civil war even harder. But before this event, strangely enough, Alex basically predicted it on an earlier show. And I'll try to find the link, but I suggest go back and look at Alex's shows. I think it was right around the end of September. And it's amazing how almost dead accurate he was. It's almost scary how accurate he was. And with the way I look at him, the shill that I think he is, it's almost like he knew. And it wouldn't shock me one bit. That guy has an agenda too. He's pushed this Civil War narrative. He's telling people to keep locked and loaded, to be ready to fight. This is what we shouldn't be doing. We should not be feeding into this divide and conquer technique and going along with it, because that's what they want. But the more amazing thing that gets me, now that we're seeing this, they're stuck with this lone gunman story now, and they're sticking with it. Just like they did with 9/11. They stick with that story. They're not willing to change it, even though the facts are right here. We see all this new evidence coming forth, and they pay no attention to it. They just cover it up more with victim montages. Don't tarnish the victims, right? We had more than one shooter, and I don't care what they said. We had people there reporting it. We had police on police scanners reporting it. We had people saying that police and security confirmed shooter on 32 and 29. Also, they breached that room at 32, the 32th floor, the lone gunman. And from what I've heard on the scanner, I don't know if that dude shot himself. If anything, they had to take that patsy out, that pawn in their little scheme here. But we also had reports of shooters on 4 and 10 by victims, witnesses, police, security, all kinds of people. They reported these more than one shooter. And now we even have video proof. The smoking gun, I guess we should say. So, I want you to have a look at a little video and see if you don't see the truth right there. See the fact this taxi cab driver driving around filming actually catches video of the shooter down on what I'm guessing either a lower level, it looks like it's either 4 or 10, shooting out a window. And you can hear gunshots coming from all over the place. We had reports of even shooters on the ground. But yet, they're still sticking with the lone gunman, right? Have a look, folks. We can't afford to let this go. We can't afford to let them hide the truth with this lie. Like I say, have a look. See you in a second.
Now it sounds like it's coming from farther away. Something's going on. I'm not sure why people aren't running, but there's a security guard. What is he doing? You know, for there being gunfire, it sure doesn't seem like people are running. Oh, shit. Seriously, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of cops out here. Be careful.
Where are the cops at? I'm right here by the porch of Mandalay Bay, and everything just seems to be normal here. Yeah, we're just all sitting. We're just.
I got details on it. I'm at the airport. I just talked to the Metro Police over here at the airport. They said do not go to Mandalay Bay. There's multiple shots fired and they need lots of medical there. Do not go to Mandalay Bay. Stay away from there.
Alright, I'm leaving. This is ridiculous. I don't know why people aren't leaving. This is insane. Everybody's just standing around. It doesn't seem like anybody's moving. It seems like it's coming.
Full shots fired. They don't even know the details yet.
It seems like it's coming from up there. Oh shit, Alright, I'm out of here. So stay away from there. Alright, well I was in the Mandalay Bay, and oh my god, now there's cops everywhere. It seems like it's coming from like the 10th floor of Mandalay Bay. I don't know. God, this is insane. Yeah, there you got cops right there. Good Lord. Shooting at the festival across from the Mandalay Bay. Please try to stay away. Alright, so now you got people running. You got people climbing over the fence there.
Peter said it was across the street at the festival by Mandalay Bay where they have that festival going on, so that could be one of them.
Yeah, you got people climbing over the fence here at the festival and people running around.
Broken leg. Broken leg.
Alright, okay. Broken leg. Broken leg. Yeah. Okay. What happened? Okay. Anywhere. Is there somebody out there?
Yes, I got your head down. You know what's happening.
Alright. Go. Okay. Alright. Oh god, there is an active shooter. Okay.
So many people are dead.
Are you kidding me? Go. Alright. Okay, close the door! Close the door!
I'm trying to...
Okay.
Please.
Close the door! Is everybody in?
Yes.
Oh my god, okay. Alright, I'm going. Okay. Oh shit.
We have an active shooter inside the fairgrounds. Control, be advised. Shots are coming from gate 7. Gate 7. Shots are coming from gate 7. 69 is coming from like the 50th or 60th floor. It's over by 7970. We're seeing local flashes in the middle of Mandalay Bay on the north side, kind of on the west tower, but towards the center of the casino, like one of the middle floors. 751, see there's a flashing coming up from about a third of the way up center tower Mandalay Bay. Control, we need all units stop coming northbound on Las Vegas, Las Vegas, about 15th floor on the Mandalay Bay, facing a whole lot. Control, Primary 35. We're getting from civilians saying that there might have been 3 shooters. There's a 410 vehicle going the wrong way, a white car that's going down Las Vegas Boulevard towards Mandalay Bay. Control, we just spoke with security at Mandalay Bay. They're saying they have shots fired on 29 and 32nd levels. Control. The 29th floor, it sounds like it's confirmed there are at least 2 shooters with fully automatic weapons. Get somebody into a camera room and see if we can get cameras watching that 29 and 32nd floor. Breach. We need the radio. We are clearing this room. We have one suspect dead.
We need the air clear for Zebra 20 to have one suspect down inside the room.
There it is. Everything from police scanners to the videos of more than one shooter, it's right there. Plain as day or night that it was. And you even hear the guys say, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, right? So it turns out whatever false flag happens in Vegas, that false flag stays in Vegas, I guess. Folks, we gotta wake up. We gotta realize, do your research, look out, do your detective work, whatever, record it, save it, because pretty soon, just like 9/11, they're going to sweep this stuff under the carpet, and they're going to turn around and start to call everybody who doesn't believe the story that's on the news crazy. You're going to be crazy along with the rest of them, right? We've seen it happen before. 9/11 was right there in front of our faces. We knew, we could see. You know, we had professionals out there, engineers, professionals in whatever, in demolition, saying, this is what it is, this is wrong, their story's wrong. But they denied it, even though the truth was right there in front of everybody's face. They're right there in front of their eyes. And people will deny and deny if they don't hear it on that box. They're not sitting in that living room and their favorite newscaster doesn't say it. They're not going to believe it. They're brainwashed. And we got to keep doing what we're doing to wake everybody up. Don't give up. It's a hard fight. Sometimes it stings. Sometimes it sucks. Your family, your friends can turn against you in a heartbeat. But no, if we finally get these people to open their eyes, it will all be worth it. And no matter what, if they don't, I'm still not going to stop fighting this fight. Because in my heart, I know what's right, and I know what's wrong, and I know what's truth, and I know what's lies. And I'm going to do the right thing and keep fighting for the truth. I hope you all do too. I'm not going to stop on this. I'm going to keep looking up info, and I'm going to keep posting it.
Let us never tolerate outrageous conspiracy theories concerning the attacks of September the 11th. Malicious lies that attempt to shift the blame away from the terrorists themselves, away from the guilty.
Truth in the movies, lies in the news. Question everything. Watch these movie clips and see predictive programming and tell you what's going to happen. All the future predictions of Minority Report, the technology we have today. Soon we'll have the self-driving cars everywhere. Research what they tell you in these news stories. There's a reason. There's a story they're telling, and it ain't the truth. There's an agenda behind what they're telling you. They're trying to enact something.
Thank you. I am two-time Golden Globe winner Jim Carrey. You know, when I go to sleep at night, I'm not just a guy going to sleep. I'm two-time Golden Globe winner Jim Carrey going to get some well-needed shut-eye. And when I dream, I don't just dream any old dream. No, sir. I dream about being three-time Golden Globe winning actor Jim Carrey. Because then I would be enough. It would finally be true. And I could stop this terrible search for what I know ultimately won't fulfill me. But these are important, these awards. I don't want you to think that just because if you blew up our solar system alone, you wouldn't be able to find us or any of human history with the naked eye. But from our perspective, this is huge.
What is Scenario 12D? We know it's a war game scenario, that it has to do with airline counterterrorism. Why is that important enough to kill for?
Because it's no longer a game.
But if some terrorist group wants to act out this scenario, why target you for assassination?
Depends on who your terrorists are.
The men who conceived of it in the first place. You're saying our government plans to commit a terrorist act against a domestic airline?
There you go. Indicting the entire government as usual. It's a faction. A small faction.
For what possible gain?
The Cold War's over, John. But with no clear enemy to stockpile against, the arms market's flat. But bring down a fully loaded 727 into the middle of New York City, and you'll find a dozen tin pot dictators all over the world just clamoring to take responsibility.
9/11 was a false flag operation. It was a warm-up to World War III.
Joel McHale plays Tad O'Malley, who's a conservative talk show host.
He is very conservative, but his ideas about conspiracy theories match up exactly with Mulder's.
It's all part of a conspiracy dating back to the UFO crash at Roswell in 1947.
My character wants to get a hold of Mulder, and that's how it starts.
Join me for a little ride?
Right here is fine.
Low-flying aircraft often employ what they call dirt boxes to record conversations that I prefer private.
Aircraft employed by whom?
He's really an amalgamation of so many characters on the internet who believe that there's not just an alien conspiracy, but a possible conspiracy of men.
What I need is your expertise.
Our expertise for what?
I'm rattling some pretty big cages in the intelligence community.
Driven not only by corporate greed, but a darker objective.
The takeover of America.
And then the world itself, by any means necessary, however violent, or cruel, or efficient. By severe drought, brought on by weather wars, conducted secretly using aerial contaminants and high-altitude electromagnetic waves, in a state of perpetual war, to create problem, reaction, solution scenarios to distract, enrage, and enslave American citizens at home, with tools like the Patriot Act and the National Defense Authorization Act, which abridge the Constitution in the name of national security. The militarization of police forces in cities across the U.S., the building of prison camps by the Federal Emergency Management Agency with no stated purpose, the corporate takeover of food and agriculture, pharmaceuticals and healthcare, even the military in clandestine agendas to fatten, dull, sicken, and control a populace already consumed by consumerism.
And I encourage you all to go shopping more.
A government that taps your phone, collects your data, and monitors your whereabouts with impunity. A government preparing to use that data against you when it strikes. And the final takeover begins.
The takeover of America.
By a well-oiled and well-armed multinational group of elites that will cull, kill, and subjugate.
Happening as we sit here.
It's happening all around us.
The other shoe waiting to drop.
It'll probably start on a Friday. The banks will announce a security action necessitating their computers to go offline all weekend.
Digital money will disappear.
They can just steal your money?
Followed by the detonation of strategic electromagnetic pulse bombs to knock out major grids.
What will seem like an attack on America by terrorists or Russia.
Or a simulated alien invasion, using alien replica vehicles that exist and are already in use.
An alien invasion of the U.S.
The Russians tried it in '47.
You can't say these things.
I'm going to say them tomorrow.
Can you believe what you have been seeing on CNN today, ladies and gentlemen? Can you believe it? Supposedly, a CNN reporter found Osama bin Laden, took a television camera crew with him, went into Osama bin Laden's hideout, interviewed him and his top leadership, his top lieutenants and colonels and generals in their hideout. This is a CNN reporter with a camera crew. And he came out and told everybody, within 3 weeks, Osama bin Laden is going to attack the United States and Israel. Now, don't you think that's kind of strange, folks? You see, because the largest intelligence apparatus in the world, with the biggest budget in the history of the world, has been looking for Osama bin Laden for years and years and years, and can't find him. A reporter from CNN and his little camera crew got in to Osama bin Laden's secret hideout and conducted an interview. If you don't believe me, tune into CNN. They're probably running it right now as I'm speaking. And if you believe it, you are one of the stupidest jerks that ever lived on the face of this earth. And whatever is going to happen that they're going to blame on Osama bin Laden, don't you even believe it. When in hell are all you people going to wake up?
That's why we got to watch everything. You can't believe shit. I ain't saying you can't trust nobody. I'm just saying, can't nobody be trusted. These motherfuckers have already told us the NSA can hear every conversation we make and see every text that we send. So you explain to me how the fuck a whole airplane could go missing in this bitch with 271 motherfuckers on it. And everybody trying to act like ain't shit happening. aren't we in the same country where 2 airplanes ran into our goddamn buildings and we don't know where they are, right? We can all see the shit. The police is on some different shit. I know you've noticed it here. I want you to know it's like that everywhere. The police is on some different shit. Now, I know it's some cops in here. We do not mean y'all. Y'all are doing a great job. We appreciate it. Just doing your job, keeping us safe out there. Thank you so much. It's the ones outside we talking about. They own some different shit. The police used to be serve and protect. Used to be you are presumed innocent until you are proven guilty. Police is on some different shit. They done figured out they can kill your ass today and come up with a story for the news tomorrow. They done figured that shit out. They done got so good, they can show us the truth, and we can see the truth with our own eyes, and then they can lie to us at the same time and confuse us about the truth we just saw with our own eyes. Okay, the first time we all saw it was at the Boston Marathon bombing. Everybody was looking for the fake-ass, bullshit-ass terrorist. He had a 4-day head start. He could have been anywhere. But we knew he was in the boat because they told us he was in the boat. From a helicopter, that's him in the boat right there. That's him in the boat. Drew a picture around him. That's him laying down at the bottom of the boat. Then they said, the police are here. We gonna back up. Let the police go in and begin negotiations. And all we heard was brat, brat-tat-tat, brat-tat-tat, brat-tat-tat. Then they cut the commercial. By the time they came back, that motherfucker had 20 holes in his chest, a tunnel in his throat. The next day they say he was in a gunfight. But he didn't have a gun. Oh, ask a nigga, that is not a gunfight. That's a drive-by right there. That's execution you got caught in. Second time we saw it was in LA when they was looking for the ex-black cop, Christopher Dorner. That was some scary shit. They wanted that nigga bad. Let me just tell you, I was in LA at the time, and let me just say, you do not want to be a nigga when they are looking for niggas. That was some scary shit. I didn't realize how much of my time I spent being black till I had to try to drive white for 2 days. I'm all up on the steering wheel. Them motherfuckers want that nigga bad. They shot up 2 Hispanic women in a pickup truck delivering newspapers at 4:30 in the morning. Look for a nigga. Wait a minute. That is too early and too late for niggas. We're not gonna be nowhere at 4:30 in the morning, not even if we supposed to be. But we knew he was in the cabin because they told us he was in the cabin. He's in the cabin. The police have him completely surrounded. There's nowhere for him to go. We're going to back up. Let the police go in and begin negotiations. And all we saw was, get that motherfucker. Then they said, it looks like he committed suicide. They just barbecued this thing on national TV.
Red Silver J, all I gotta say.
I saw the end of the world. I could feel all this death.
Jean, it was just a dream.
You wander through the willows in the forest you have found.
I've been golden many things over many lifetimes.
Trying to hide.
Ra, Krishna, Yahweh.
Ever since the world found out about mutants, there have been secret societies who see them as some kind of second coming or sign of God. They believe that tens of thousands of years ago, an ancient being was born, the world's first.
Mutant. You are all my children. And you're lost. Because you follow blind leaders. But I am here now. I'm here for you.
Wherever this being was, he always had 4 followers he would imbue with power.
Like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. You got that one from the Bible.
Or the Bible got it from him.
What is it? Oh, God. He can control all of us. The world needs the X-Men.
That's why I'm here. To fight.
Not all of us can control our powers.
Then don't. This is war.
Everything they built will fall! And from the ashes of their world, we'll build a better one!